So in this video we're going to talk about taking parts and assemblies from Inventor and on into SolidWorks, where we can get some really nice renders of them. So here's something that has been drawn in Inventor. It's just a simple shape sorter exercise. Now I chose this because it's got lots of different pieces, so we can apply different materials and different colors to each of them. Another thing I'm doing, you'll notice I have drawn the shape sorter, but I've put it sitting on this large sheet of material with a bend at the back. That's because I'm going to use this to make my own scene. So if I just show you an example of that, here's an instance where these few parts were drawn, but I drew a board and put the slitter, the hurl and the bottle sitting on the board and rendered the board to look like grass. Here, this is the exact same scene. Actually, it's just a piece of metal this time. Same piece of metal, and in this case, rather than just drawing a square board and a vertical wall at the back, I actually drew the corner of a room to put this piece of furniture into. So here's the finished product. This is the fully rendered shape sorter exercise. I've just put plastic or a glossy paint finish on all the pieces. I've put that's actually chipboard, but I'm going to show you how I can make it look a little bit more like cork or just composite board later. But Inventor, in my opinion, can't actually get that quality, that good quality of a render. So I want to show you how to bring it from Inventor through to SolidWorks. So here is the assembly in Inventor. Unfortunately, you can't just open up the assembly in SolidWorks. The softwares don't actually talk to each other. Now, if you open up a SolidWorks assembly in Inventor, it will work. But you cannot open up an Inventor assembly, one that was drawn in Inventor, such as this, in SolidWorks. So you need to find a common language or a common way to open them. So here's how you do it. You go to the Inventor icon, down as far as export, and CAD format. So we're going to export this assembly as a different CAD format. Give it a moment to think, and I'm just going to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to call it Shape Sorter Assemb, but save as type. I want to set that to an IGES or an IGES file. That's going to be very useful to you in future. That is the file you're going to use to bring your Inventor drawings to programs such as SolidWorks or AlphaCam or other programs like that. So press save. It takes a moment and you're actually finished with Inventor now. So I'm going to close it down and not save changes. So sure enough, on the desktop there's a file called Shape Sorter Assemb.igs. So inside SolidWorks now, and I'm aware many of you have never opened SolidWorks before, but still the basic Windows functionality will be the same. So if you go to Open, Desktop, Shape Sorter Assemb.igs. Now IGS or an IGES file is a pretty universal computing language, so SolidWorks will be able to open it, but as you'll see in a moment, it'll open it as this blank or stripped back file. There won't really be any geometry or details there. You can't edit or change the parts as such. So when this box pops up, do you wish to run import diagnostics on this part? Click yes and make SolidWorks relearn the part, and it'll save it as a SolidWorks assembly rather than this generic imported IGES file. So click yes. Now that seems to have happened. In a more complicated assembly it might take a couple of minutes to do that, but it seems to have worked straight away. One thing that's worth noting at this time is none of the mates that I added in Inventor will have come through. So if you click any piece, you'll be able to drag it away. So I don't want to do that. So the best solution is to go over to the feature manager, and you can notice all the parts are listed over here in the browser or the feature manager. And this little minus beside each of them indicates that they're not fully defined. They are movable. So it might take a moment, but right click each one and go fix, right click, fix, right click, fix, and so on. So now they're all fixed, so the minus will have changed to an F for fix, and now I can't drag any of the components out of alignment. Just in SolidWorks you'll notice that the controls are reversed. In Inventor you have to hold the shift key and then to press the mouse wheel to rotate, whereas in SolidWorks you don't have to press the shift key, just depress the mouse wheel and rotate as shown. So just while we're here, you'll notice a lot of the tools sound familiar, such as mates or constraints, and there's sketches, and there's all the same commands you are familiar with from Inventor. We're not going to get into those in this video, but what we are going to do in this video is add some color and materials to the shape. So to do that, you press this icon, Appearances, Scenes and Decals, and as soon as you press that, a menu expands from the right hand side. Now if you click anywhere back in the drawing, it disappears, so I like to press it and hit this push pin and it'll stay out. In fact, you can just make it ever so slightly narrower if you want. So to add appearances, or colours essentially, press the plus beside appearances and select from a wide range of materials. In my case I want to put, say, high gloss plastic onto each of these pieces. So I'm going to press the plus beside plastic, press the plus, sorry, there is no plus, just press high gloss, and all the high gloss plastics that are loaded into SolidWorks appear down at the bottom. So for instance, if I want to make the cylinder yellow, say, click and hold this graphic and drag it in, and when you're hovering over the cylinder, let go. If you're a little hasty and just move the mouse, it just disappears and cancels that command. You have to be very careful to do this. Click and hold, and as you hover over the cylinder, let the mouse go but do not move the mouse. And now you can select between many different options. For instance, I can put the yellow onto this part only, I can put it onto all parts, I can put it onto the body, or I can just put it onto that face. Sometimes you may just want the face to be yellow rather than the entire part. But in my case, I want this one. Let's put it onto every cylinder. So click on that, and now that's done. So if I want, say, red square base prism, do the same thing. Let go on the square base prism and click to confirm it. And we'll try green for the triangular base prism. That's done. So that's plastic. You'll notice the graphic window doesn't look very high res, and it's not supposed to. It would take a lot of computing power and a lot of time to render this window in real time. So it just gives a lower res version of the drawing. So we'll up the quality of that in a few minutes. There's no point doing it now or it'll kill our computer. So the next thing we're going to do is this base, this whole base here, to get that nice shiny metal or shiny reflective look that we had in the drawing a moment ago. Let's just show you here. I'm going to make that, say, polished steel or something like that. So let's go and see what we have. So I'm going to press the minus beside plastic, press the plus now beside metal, and you can experiment with these yourselves, but if I just go to steel, there's polished steel. So drag and drop polished steel onto the background and let go. So the only thing I've left to do is put a bit of material onto this base of the shape sorter. So what I'm going to do is actually look into where the woods are. Now the woods are in a folder called organic, and they're quite good. I mean, if you go to wood and you put on maple or birch or beech or ash, they render very, very good indeed. So what I'm going to do is go to, let's see if I can find it here. It's a pine. In fact, I'll go to patterned composite, and in patterned composite you can see OSB. So I'm going to drag OSB onto the bottom of the shape sorter, and there it is. Okay. Now this is just a glitch. For some reason this happens every now and then. It puts it on as being black rather than just having the OSB fibers. So it's a good time to show you how to remove an appearance. Now I didn't mean for that to happen, but it's a good time to show you how to do it. To remove any appearance, I've just put yellow, green, red plastic, I put on metal, and I've also put on this OSB. So to remove an appearance, you just right click it, a normal click it, and from this menu that pops up, there's a very subtly placed icon called Appearances. Now with the drop down arrow to the right of that, you should be able to see a little swatch, and there is the swatch, Edit Orientated Strand Board. Now I just know if you edit it, it will actually update and it will appear the right colour rather than being black. But this is also how you delete it. So just press the red X and it goes away. And we'll try that again. Okay, so it's just a little glitch. Sometimes when you put it on, it just turns black for a moment. You have to fix it. Now you'll notice that's a good bit different than the one I have in my drawing. That's the way I wanted it to look. And if you want it to look like OSB, then leave well enough alone. But here's a good way to make the most of all the different wood. For instance, if you want to make the wood grain tighter or wider or twist it or rotate it, here's how you edit the appearance of an appearance. So click the base, go back up here to the Appearances button and press the drop down arrow beside it, and here we can see, sure enough, that there's a little swatch and it says Edit OSB. So click that to edit OSB. And give it a moment, and you can click anywhere within this frame. And when you click within that frame, you should be able to edit it. For instance, I can click the edge of the frame and I can resize the OSB. I should be able to click inside it and move it, but it's not working at the moment. If you should be able to click inside this frame, and you should be able to move it, but if that doesn't happen, you're going to have to go over here to mapping. Now that's a bit advanced for now, but click mapping and this planar mapping, but that's irrelevant for now. But usually you should get this. You should get this little yellow sphere, and if you click and drag that, you should be able to change the direction of the grain. And if you click anywhere within the frame, you should be able to move and pan the grain left and right. But for now, I just want to drag that corner and make it very, very small, and it'll give the appearance of this almost like MDF, but or almost like chipboard. Press OK.